Hello world of YouTube, and welcome to another notch in the belt of August, my month-long celebration of one Weird Al Yankovic comedy legend, because he's got the biopic on the way. And while I've been doing this season of Tier Time, I figured what better way to get niche with it than by talking about a staple of most Weird Al records, the polka. Now, the polka serves a handful of purposes across his discography, but by and large, it acts as an enhancement to the snapshot time capsule vibe that Weird Al albums act as in hindsight. You get a better peek into the songs that may have been popping at the time, and Al blends them together into a medley polka. It's hilarious. There's a couple where that's not the instance, some of the singles that he's done that are like that, and a couple of instances on albums that aren't quite the same, but a majority of them act as that, and that'll be sort of a good benchmark and that'll be one of the criteria I grade a lot of these. Again, some of them not so much, but I will be talking about other instances of what I like about each of the polkas here and there. There's 14 of them. There's a handful of polkas that he's made throughout his career, and they're honestly some of my favorite parts of Weird Al records. I feel like some of the polkas stand out amongst some of the parodies as like a good just musical thing that he does. And I love that he started doing it on his second record, Weird Al Yankovic in 3D, with Polkas on 45, and I'm glad that it stayed a trend throughout, again, most of his albums. I talked about Even Worse not having one as like a bit joke, but again, he's done a lot. And I'll be breaking them all down, ranking them F to S, going in chronological order, starting with Polkas on 45 from Weird Al Yankovic in 3D. And this is one of the instances where it's not a medley of songs that were not necessarily only popping at the time. There are some stuff that I would imagine was popping off at this point in the 80s, like Burning Down the House, or not necessarily Jocko Homo, but Devo was a relatively big band in certain circles. Same with The Police's Every Breath You Take. I'm sure that was a big song, and Hot Blooded. But he's also got stuff like L.A. Woman and Hey Jude and Hey Joe. And it acts as a good sort of idea, proof of concept for what the polkas could be. I really like Polkas on 45. I think it's a really, really good polka. It's not my favorite polka, but it's up there for like one of my favorite. I enjoy how the songs kind of flow throughout each other. I love the Hey Joe that's on here. I love his version of My Generation. I like that you get to hear stuff like the Smoke on the Water riff and the In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida riff played on an accordion. As a whole, I think this is a really good polka. I think that it's a really good medley, and it's not my favorite, but it's up there. It's going in the A tier. It's a high A, strong S candidate. After that, the following year, he did Dare to Be Stupid and dropped the Hooked on Polkas with a bunch of songs that have so infectious of hooks, and it's a very catchy-ass polka. Do I love every song that's here, or do I wish that there were more in some instances of other songs? Yeah, like, I like Sharp Dressed Man. I like that it's here. I think it goes really well into What's Love Got to Do with It. I wish Method of Modern Love had a little more of a showcase, but I love that after Owner of a Lonely Heart, you do get the bit of the song that features the sample from that before going into We're Not Gonna Take It. I think 99 Left Balloons is on here. I love the Reflex. I feel like Bang Your Head should have maybe been something else, but I think that by and by, a lot of this last stretch is also very, very good. I love that Relax is the last song on here because he repeats the last line of the refrain on the end of the polka, and I love Relaxes. It's hilarious, and it's a good joke. Do I like it as much as Polkas on 45? No, but I do like Hooked on Polkas. I think that it's still really good. It's going to the B tier. I like a lot of the songs. I just wish there were some more of others, and some other ones that not necessarily didn't need to be here. After that, his last polka for a couple of years, Polka Party, is actually a much better polka. This is one of my favorite polkas that Al's ever made. I love that it starts with a sort of Genesis singer-off with a solo Peter Gabriel song into a solo Phil Collins song. I think this entire polka flows together beautifully. I love that he calls the Harlem Shuffle the Harlem Polka on here. I think the part where Rock Me Amadeus kicks in and you get the fun sped up version of the original song, it's hilarious. I love the little snippets in the Freeway of Love as well. I love this polka. I think it's a really, really good one, and it also just kind of like what I said in the alternate take. Like, it kind of sucks that he took a break after this, because this is a really good polka. This is going to the S tier. I love Polka Party's polka. I think that Polka Party is a fantastic jam. And after that, after a couple of years of not doing polkas, he did the Hot Rocks polka for the UHF soundtrack, a polka that is a tribute to the Rolling Stones. All the songs here are Rolling Stones jams, and admittedly, as a kid, because I had these all on a playlist, up through Straight Outta Linwood, because this was all the era from when I was a kid. Admittedly, this is probably one of my least favorite polkas, and it's partially because, as a kid, I liked the Rolling Stones, but they were nowhere near my favorite classic rock band. Sure, they have classic records and they have classic songs, and I respect the hustle that they've done. The fact that they're still doing it is insane to me. But the Hot Rocks polka just isn't my favorite polka because I don't like all the Rolling Stones songs. It's going in the C tier because it's not a bad song. And it's a cool concept because a couple of the other polkas prior had Rolling Stones or Rolling Stones adjacent tracks on them, but it's just not my favorite polka, admittedly. So it's going in the C tier. I would have loved to have seen a tribute to any other classic rock band other than the Rolling Stones, but they can't all be singers, you know what I mean? But it's still all right. After that, we got the Off the Deep End polka, which is called Polka Your Eyes Out, which surely acts as a really good snapshot into the early 90s. There's a handful of classics and good one-hit wonder jams, and some of the dying breaths of hair metal in the mix, along with some of the bigger acts in metal and their rise to prominence. You got some jock jam love in here. This has a little bit of everything, but because of that, the polka, I feel like, is one of the sloppier ones that Al's pulled together. I don't hate the songs here, and I like hearing Tom's Diner. I like hearing Love Shack, and I like that those two go into together. I like Losing My Religion is on here. I think the fact that Pump Up the Jam is on here is hilarious. I like that the Humpty Dance is the swing portion. I love that as well. I think that Ice Ice Baby closing it out is the best chef's kiss that a polka like this could have ever seen. It feels like the messiest polka, by and large, out of all the polkas. It's not awful, but it's another one of my least favorite polkas, you know? I'm putting it in the B tier because I do like it more than the Hot Rocks polka, because there are some real highs on here, but its messiness puts it in the B tier. After that, on Alapalooza, we got the Bohemian polka, which is just a polkification of the Queen classic song Bohemian Rhapsody. I talked about loving this polka on my Redacted, and I still really, really love the Bohemian polka. I think that it's a fantastic idea. I think it's a great execution on its concept, and it's easily an S tier polka for me. I love this polka so very much, and I had to have it on my Redacted to act as a good proof of concept polka done excellently. It is just incredibly well done. And then on Bad Hair Day, he dropped the alternative polka, which is probably actually my favorite polka. I mean, look at these songs. It opens with Loser with the original song coming in before the polka quirkiness ramps it up to infinity, before going into sex type thing. All I Want to Do, he throws in the Closer sample, same with the Bang and Blame. It's just an incredibly good polka that I'm glad he did not include Buddy Holly on, because there was a meme on TikTok where after Bullet with Butterfly Wings, instead of My Friends, it goes into Weezer's Buddy Holly. Could do without it, but the Black Hole Sun and a Basket Case from I'll Stick Around, also really, really good. Is S tier polka. This is easily one of the best polkas Al's ever made, if not the best polka, bar none. Now, he closed out the 90s with my first polka. This was my first polka. You never forget your first. I bought Running with Scissors on CD when I was a kid. It was around the Poodle Hat era, but I bought this first because of Albuquerque. And when I first threw on the record and heard this polka come in, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why am I hearing a medley of so many pop songs? Again, similarly to Off the Deep End, when acting as a good snapshot into the late 90s, I don't think you could do better than with this collection of songs. I mean, you've got Wannabe and a Flagpole Sitta and a Ghetto Superstar, Backstreet's Back after that. Like, this is just a slew of well chained together pop catchy songs into a great medley. Could I do without the Marilyn Manson? Sure. But am I complaining as much as I am some of the other polkas? Hell no. I think that Polka Power is another great polka. And again, you never really forget your first. You really never do. I'm putting it in the S tier. I really like Polka Power. I think that it's a great polka. And after that, for the Pokemon the Movie 2000 The Power of One soundtrack, Weird Al did the Pokemon rap as a polka. It's so great. I love it so much. Is it my favorite one-off polka idea? No. But is it a really, really good one? Yes. Is it because I love Pokemon? You bet your ass. But to have this role, because it's the credits song for the movie itself, and to have Weird Al's Polka soundtrack your credits, that's incredible. It's going into A tier. It's not as good as Bohemian Polka, but I still think it's far better than the Hot Rocks Polka. I think that it's a really good polka, and I adore that it's a thing, and I think that Weird Al, no one else could have done it but Weird Al, and Weird Al did it really, really good with Pokemon. Now, the polka that was made during the first album of Weird Al's that I was a fan of during the era of the Angry White Boy polka felt, again, very apropos for the early 2000s. A lot of angry rock music with some other just rockin' jams thrown in there. It's a good thematic polka that I think, again, comes together really, really well. Do I love every song that's here? No, but I love the songs that he did choose. I like Last Night that's on here. I think Youth of the Nation is hilarious. I think Real Slim Shady is a good closing one. Same with My Way being thrown in there. Down with the Sickness is hilarious in there. Not my favorite polka, but it's another really, really strong one. I'm going to put it in the A tier because I also think it's a slammer. It's a bop. Now, the last polka from when I was in grade school, the last polka during the era where I was at peak Weird Al fandom, Polka Rama. Honestly, not a bad polka. I think that it's a really good one. There's got some real highs. I think starting with the chicken dance and a Let's Get Started is hilarious. I think It Bleeds Really Wanted to Take Me Out. I think Speed of Sound sounds legitimately incredible, and I think it flows really well into Float On, which flows really well into Feel Good Inc. I love that Candy Shop is the breakdown, sort of slow moment, and I think that he ramps it back up really well with Drop It Like It's Hot. A lot of really good song choices, and again, including stuff like Slither and Beverly Hills continue to enhance that snapshot of the time vibe. Ultimately, I just don't think it's my favorite polka. I like it. I think it's all right, but again, it's easily down there for like ones I don't revisit as often as others. I'm putting it in the B tier because it's not bad. It's just not my favorite either. Now, I almost made a video about Alpocalypse for this month as a reflection on an album where Al felt the most out of touch in pockets. Like, some of the parody choices on there were solid, but because of the whole internet leaks being injected in there sort of track listing, I felt like it's easily one of the points where upon release, part of it already felt kind of dated. But I feel like the polka is where that album really, really shines. I think Alpocalypse's Polka, Polka Face, is a really good polka that has a lot of songs that were both poppin' not too long before and could still be in rotation, with some of the great snapshots at who was really poppin' in the early 2010s. I mean, Break Your Heart, Blame It, Need You Now, Right Round, all huge at the time. Replay, Down, incredible. That flow from Replay through Break Your Heart is incredible. I like that he adds a reprise for Polka Face as well, for Poker Face, I should say. I like that Day and Night's here. I think that it's hilarious that it actually goes really well into Need You Now. This is one of the best parts of this album that I ultimately think may be one of Al's weakest. Even though it's that, the polka itself is a shining point, and I think that it's a really, really good one. I'm putting it in the A tier. I like Polka Face. I think that it's a great one. And then the last polka that he's probably ever going to do on an album for Mandatory Fun, now that's what I call polka. It's a pretty amicable last polka. I think that it's got, again, good snapshots at songs that were popping in like 2012, 2013, maybe a little bit of 2014. You know, the pumped up kicks and best song. The best song ever bit on here is hilarious, and I think that he bleeds it really well into Gangnam Style. I like that Call Me Maybe's here. Somebody that I used to know obviously had to be here. Get Lucky closing it out makes so much sense and is fucking incredible. I like Thrift Shop. I like that it's the bridge of the song. I think Sexy and I know it's hilarious that it's here as well. Again, a really, really good polka, and easily like could have been worse given what he was kind of maybe feeling at the time when he was pulling together Mandatory Fun. I like this polka. I don't remember what I thought of it at the time when it came out, but I liked it. I think that it's good. I'm putting it in the B tier. It's solid. It's a solid ass polka. And then finally, the last thematic polka and the most recent polka that he's dropped, the Hamilton polka. You know, Weird Al putting Weezer in polkas makes sense. You know, Weird Al doing stuff like throwing Gangnam Style in his polkas makes sense. And him doing the Hamilton polka also just kind of makes sense. You know, Lin-Manuel Miranda's a huge dork. He's a big Weird Al fan. Hamilton, while it came out maybe after the biggest wave of Hamilton's sort of prominence and popularity, it's still a good polka. You know, I like musicals. I like the theater. And I like that Al did an honest, earnest-ass polka medley of a musical. And honestly, kind of like to see him do it with other musicals, because I think that it's fantastic. I think that his attention to, again, bleeding these songs together is fantastic. And I think that, while, again, it's not a polka that I necessarily respin all that much, because, admittedly, I've actually never seen Hamilton, even though I respect a lot of the crew that's in Hamilton. I like that he did it. I like that he pulled it together. I was on musical theater kid Vine, and I like when a big musical pops up, my TikTok feed is all of that musical. So, I mean, I respect it. I respect what he did. I know I need to see Hamilton at some point. I'm sure somebody in the comments is like, yo, what is wrong with you? Go see Hamilton. Go watch Hamilton. And I will at some point. But for now, I'm going to put it in the A tier. I think that it is a good polka, and it's a good idea for a polka, because Hamilton was a huge deal when it came out, and him doing a polka of songs from that makes a whole lot of sense, given, again, the people involved in the play. But yeah, that's my polka tier time. That's my thoughts on the polkas. Do you like the Weird Al polkas? What's your favorite Weird Al polka? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this tier time, give it a like. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general notary content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons. If you want to join the ranks to get early access to content, exclusive content, or to help drive the community, it's linked in the description. I'm going to go, though. Thank you again so very much for watching. I've been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, lives, and situations, and I'll see you another day.